Joe Rizik from Denison University. Sorry, that was silly. But that is who I am. I'm Dr. Joe Rizik, and I'm helping sponsor the STEMFest Challenge this year, specifically the Biofuels Challenge. This is motivated by a number of things. First and foremost, energy locally. Right? We talk about energy a lot. Energy comes up an awful lot because we use an awful lot of it. For example, you guys probably remember, you're young and your memories may be short, but do you remember that Gulf oil spill disaster thing that happened? Do you remember how the oil was gushing into the ocean for days, for weeks? Do you know how many gallons of oil, or how many barrels about this high, this big? Do you know how many barrels? It was over 3 million of those barrels. And do you know how much that corresponds to just the United States energy usage? How many? It was leaking for several months. 3 billion barrels. That's 3 days of energy usage. That's it. We go through about 3 million barrels of oil in 3 days. It's pretty dramatic, right? Now I'm a chemist, so I could get into kind of the socioeconomic, environmental aspects of energy use, but I'm not going to. All I'm going to say is that it might be neat if we had several different types of energy to use, and that of course is going on, but one type is energy from biological sources or biofuels. Now that can mean a lot of things. People have been using biofuels longer than anything else, right? When we first discovered fire, it was burning wood, right? Which of course is a biofuel. Even today, a large portion of many African and Asian countries use wood heating for all their cooking and everything else, which is actually problematic, but we won't go there now. But biofuels are incredibly important, and more importantly, the idea of a fuel, to me, is not just energy, but it's transportable energy. So you can plug, your TV or whatever into the wall at home, and that you're getting energy from the grid. But that's not going to help you move your car, right? To get here, even if it's a little late. Right? You need fuel to do that. And fuel can come in a number of sources. So it can come in the form of gasoline, like for your car, right? And also a type of fuel really you can think of is batteries, okay? Essentially like portable electricity. Right? I can take this, and some cars now run on batteries. Right? And so that's what this challenge is really about. It's alternative ideas and thinking about ways to get energy, portable energy, from sources that are not so familiar for us. So not an actual battery, and not actual gasoline, which of course is directly related to the Gulf oil spill that I just talked about. But what about other sources of fuel? Any questions about that so far?
What's wrong with burning wood for you?
What's wrong with burning? Oh, it's because, I said I wasn't going to talk about it. Turns out that when you burn wood, have you ever noticed, do you have a fireplace? You have a big furnace? There's nothing wrong with it. Necessarily, it gets great heat, but it also gets a lot of ash and a lot of other shit. So if you don't have great ventilation, so a lot of houses, especially in Africa, actually don't have great ventilation. It turns out that death from smoke inhalation due to wood burning heating is like one of the 3rd causes of death in that nation. Yeah. So for us, it's usually fine. We have the architecture, we have the infrastructure to handle. But for countries that don't know how to handle the smoke or the ash, it can be problematic. There's nothing wrong.
No.
No, it's a good question. Any other questions? Okay, cool. Alright, so there are 2 halves to this challenge, and the reason it's not one challenge for everybody this time is because the high school challenge in particular, the making of biodiesel fuel, is actual, honest to gosh, chemistry, which is hard to do sometimes because it involves, some pretty, we won't say dangerous, because that would be scary, respectable chemicals, okay? So I feel very confident that high school teens in a lab, either at the high school or at Denison or here in a lab environment, can do this very safely, but I wanted to give a second option for the middle school teams that doesn't involve things like, pure sodium hydroxide and methanol. We'll get to that in a second. So first let's talk about the middle school challenge. And the middle school challenge is actually literally making one of these, only making it out of a fruit. orange. It's a juice orange. And I have in this orange a couple of nails. Okay? And the nails are connected to a couple of wires. And it turns out that if I do this correctly, and I'm not going to show you how to do it at the moment, I can actually produce enough electricity to light up these tiny little LED light bulbs. Now, that might not sound too impressive, so here's an example one. So in your kit that you'll get as part of the middle school challenge, you'll see several different types of nails, several different wires to connect them, and a couple of these different light-emitting diodes, or LEDs. And your job is to collect fruit. And in the handout here, there's information about how to do that. You can actually get fruit from, what is it, Little Bear grocery store. So oftentimes when the fruit starts to look a little bruised or it's been there for a while, they'll actually just throw that stuff away. But that works fine for fruit batteries. So they'll give it to us for free. So you can ask Little Bear for that fruit and get different types of fruit. You know, I have an orange here. I like oranges, vitamin C is good. Apples, pears, grapefruit, kiwi, I don't know. What makes the best fruit battery? I actually have no idea what makes the best fruit battery, so I'm looking forward to finding out. Now, the key to this challenge is creating enough voltage and current to light up these LEDs. All right? This here is a multimeter. I can't give this out with the kits. But on the day of the challenge, I will actually be measuring the exact voltage and current that's coming out of your fruit battery. And that is part of the challenge. Who can build the best fruit battery? Now, before some people get really excited and say, well, let's just use all the fruit we can. There is a limit. You can only use 3 pieces of fruit in your actual fruit battery. Okay? So you have to choose, you have to actually figure out which fruit you think is best, hook up the battery, and you can't use more than 3 pieces of fruit. Okay? So whoever can build the best battery will have a leg up in this challenge. And of course, things always need to look nice, so that's also an aspect as per the handout. Now, a couple of hints on this. So there is a handout that kind of describes this to you. There are 3 types of nails in this kit. They're not all equal. Okay? Also, when you're working with these wires, be careful with them. The ends of them are a little cool, so don't poke your fingers. But you're going to want to be able to use them to curl all around.